Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp.com.
I'm excited about this sponsor because, especially with COVID going on, there's a lack of mental health resources out there. A lot of people aren't able to get to their therapist, or their therapists are booked out. And so with BetterHelp.com, it's really nice because it's all, you can either do a video chat, you can do direct messaging, you can, do telephone calls and all that where you don't have to see someone in person. And then when you do the algorithm online, they will pick therapists for you. And I've met with a lot of patients who talk about how they cannot find a therapist for them, and they have gone through lots of different therapists. And I've had patients that come, in the ER, and they're asking for, I want a therapist that specializes in this and this and this. And basically I have a piece of paper I can hand them and say, all right, there you go. Try and figure out which place has those type of therapists. So.
And it's very nice. As you're filling out the information, you can watch the website calculate and find these people for you. There's thousands of counselors.
Over 4,000.
Thousands. Yeah, it's insane. And one thing that is important to me as well, we talk about mental health, obviously, every single episode. But something that's become more important is obviously my sobriety. And they have a plethora of LADCs, or licensed drug and alcohol counselors. So it covers a wide range of not just mental health stuff, but relationships, anything.
You can do couples counseling on there too, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's incredible. So go to betterhelp.com/DDGD. That is the acronym for the podcast. Obviously, Duck, Duck, Grey Duke. Again, that's betterhelp.com/DDGD. Enjoy the show. I was going to say, I think it was party related, if I remember correctly.
Some type of party.
Nice.
No, I just come here.
Yeah, she just comes over to look at the house.
Sex swing.
Sex swing.
I know.
I can show you where it's at.
I'm sure you can.
She helped us install it. It was.
I heard it's good to put them in closets.
It is.
Yeah.
Why?
Kids can't find it.
Because kids can't find it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because I can let you know that one of our friends had one, and the spring hung in his room, and every time we walked in there, kids are like, "What's that?"
I'm sorry. Yours is the only one that doesn't have the shock mount, so the springs go pewing. I'm sorry.
I'll lean forward.
Oh, you can pull it towards you.
Yeah, you can pull it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hear you.
Pull it.
This isn't a ASMR thing where...
I have gotten used to, because I chew nicotine gum all the time, like I lean back instead of being right up on it for when I'm doing the chewy chews.
I do love that sound. That's such a beautiful sound.
I watch those
really
videos.
It's very
Do
satisfying.
you really? Oh, Chris used to watch him in nap. Oh, I can't stand it when they whisper. I'm like, just say what you're saying. I can't hear you. Ugh.
The finger flutters?
I can't do the... No.
What videos
really?
do you watch?
Those food videos I watch?
Oh, yeah. No, that's not what we were talking about.
It is.
But you're...
I don't listen to it with the volume on with you next to me.
She sits and watches Asian people eat. It's a thing.
I have heard of that.
Pass.
Why? Why do you watch me eat?
I like Asian food. I don't listen to them eat, but I'm like, oh, what is that? Like this one girl ate a squid and it started like climbing up her face. I'm like, oh.
Have you seen that one where they slap it?
Yes.
You're not... That's not what you... I see you...
I'm not going to watch my freaky things with you next to me.
I watch you watch people stuff noodles into their mouth. Like, as many as they can at once. It's just...
Yes.
I don't understand it.
If I can't, I want to watch someone else do it. Like,
Yeah. Or when they pour the stuff on the squids and they move and stuff. Ugh.
That one that...
We all have our weird things. So that is pretty weird.
I'll put the clip
weird.
up here, but the one where she slaps...
马上开直播，直播间不干别的，就盘他，就盘他。
it moves,
What thing
and
does
then
she
you
slap?
take a bite out of it. It's like an uncircumcised penis.
Oh, that's right.
It's
that
a
thing.
sea scallop type thing.
Yeah. And then it just bursts in their mouth.
Uh-huh. It
And-
squirts, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All
I
right.
can show you a picture.
No, I'm good. I'm really fine.
It does look like a penis. That's gross. I
It
didn't
is.
remember
Like,
that.
and they...
Well, if it looks like a penis and it squirts stuff into your mouth, it
Probably.
sounds like something Spencer would be into.
affirmative.
All right, you ready for the intro, Kim
I
Duke?
guess.
Oh, we're going official now.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a cold. It was a lukewarm open. Now we're coming in hot. Paul and Spencer on podcast today.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was
You haven't
really,
sing in a while.
I know. I
That
thought
is-
about it just for you two.
that was really special, actually. That was touching, even. It was good. It was really good.
I'm flippin' excited. You guys were on back in the SoundCloud days.
100 years ago or something
Yes.
like that?
Rip. When we were holding mics with our hands and it was
Sitting
just-
in our office, like,
Yeah, I do
cross-legged on the
remember
floor.
that.
Yeah.
which
The
was
good
really
old days.
fun.
Yeah, it was good.
But now we've
No,
got
Chris
things.
doesn't
Now
want to
you're-
travel anywhere because we have all these cameras and lights.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
a
Why would you?
pain in the ass.
Very official. It's very official. It's very nice, actually.
Yeah, we got the soundboards up. There's minimizing the echo.
We spray painted them. If you
Did some spray paint.
probably need to be repainted.
You need
No, it
gang
looks good.
signs
I think
on
they
there.
look good. Yeah, you should paint games.
we should put some ducks on there.
You should.
Yes.
That's a really good idea. And
We'll
easy to
figure
do.
something- We'll
That's
figure
a
something
really
out.
good idea. Stencil
Yeah.
a gray duck
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
or a gray duke.
Remind me. So right after we record, we'll do the BetterHelp thing. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
This
Sounds
episode
agreeable.
is sponsored by BetterHelp. According to FTC regulations, we have to say that, and then we'll do like an official one afterwards.
What's FTC?
FTC is like? It's a new thing
Federal
now.
Trade Commission?
I can't remember, but like with the advent of influencers and stuff, you can't pretend like you're not being paid by whoever you're being paid.
Hashtag ad. Hashtag partner. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He
I
gets
just
it.
don't know what the FTC is. Like that's new to me. Those are
Yeah.
three
Do they
letters.
do that with you too?
I mean, I just answer to the mothership.
You just say ad.
iHeartMedia. I don't
Yeah.
piss off the people that sign my check. So
Yeah.
they say
Yeah.
hashtag ad, hashtag partner. So, but if it's not necessary, I don't do it
Right.
Yeah.
because whether it's
The thing is, you're not also using products you don't believe in.
Right.
Yeah.
and that's why it's like if I'm not obligated, I generally won't because
Yeah.
it's like I wouldn't be doing it in the first place if I
Yeah.
didn't like it. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's a fine line between paid partnership and lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it could be a lifestyle post. You know what I mean? Like I I've got a thing going now with Imagine Theaters, where we get to go to a movie. We get to go to movies twice a month in our own theater.
Nice.
That's their new thing. That's the new thing Imagine's doing. It's genius.
Yeah.
They're like, well, there's hardly any movies. We're not super busy. So you can actually go, anybody can go rent out an auditorium for $99. Plus, let's just say you bring a party of 8 to a movie, they all have to pay for their ticket. And then there's a $99 fee, but you have a theater to yourself.
That is
That's
insane.
nice.
So we're doing Elsie's birthday. We're doing a birthday party there.
That's
That's
freaking
a-
awesome.
And you bring in your own movie if you want.
Really?
Yeah. Think about that.
That's
I want to
pretty
I
cool.
want to go watch. Sorry, I want to go watch. I want to bring my Blu-ray of Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. I don't remember seeing it on the big screen. Like I want to go. Like it's a 3-hour Michael Mann just epic. Like
Just have the theater all by yourself.
God, yeah. Because I mean, we have that little movie theater in our house, but it's not anything like a
No.
real movie theater. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That is so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a really cool concept. So I just, I reached out to them and just said, I know you want to talk. Sorry. You know how I get. I reached
I know
out.
how you feel.
I reached out to him and just said, like I'm totally on board with, because I'm, in this whole disaster that we're in, there are certain things that I wouldn't do if you paid me $1 million. Like
Yeah.
I love hockey. I'm not going to a Wild game anytime soon.
Yeah.
No way, no how. Wouldn't go to a Twins game. I will go out to eat. And I will go to a movie theater. Movie theaters feel so safe to me. I've gone to 3 or 4 movies. The one time that I didn't get the hookup and I had to pay, I paid for the ticket and got my concessions all from the same person. So I came in contact with one person.
Okay.
They take your ticket there. You don't have another person and another person.
Oh, yeah.
You sanitize before you go in. You wear your mask in. We sanitize when we sat down. Take your mask off while you're eating, drinking, whatever. If the theater is relatively full-ish, which most of them aren't even.
Right.
I mean, you run into more people
At the Target.
Your butts to nuts at Target.
Yeah.
Elbow to elbow at Home Depot. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if you're looking to get the heck out of the house, theaters are totally safe right now.
That's how I felt about. I was so nervous the first time I went out to eat after all this because
Yeah.
it wasn't until like August that I went out to eat with Layla and I was like having a mini panic attack and I looked around. I'm like, this is cleaner than me being at the Target.
Yeah.
And we go to Target
100%.
twice a week grocery shopping.
I was just gonna say we go 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah,
So I'm
it's
like, okay, I'm not feeling so anxious anymore because
Yeah.
you just put your mask on when you go to the bathroom, come back, but like no one's coming. Like our waitress didn't come to our table more than she needed to.
right.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't feel so. But yeah,
We were a little crazy with the restaurant. We've gotten to be really good friends with our neighbors. If you're looking out our front door to the left of us,
okay.
and so it was like the second that they opened them up, all 4 of us love Pittsburgh Blue.
Oh,
And we're
yeah.
like, we're gonna go celebrate the fact that stuff's starting to open again at Pittsburgh Blue. I think it was like the first week stuff opened up
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
But again, it was like, if you really think about it, like if you just on the surface go, oh my God, we're going to go out to eat in public. This is crazy. But then if you think about it, wait a minute. We're wearing a mask as we walk in the door. We open the door, so we're touching the door handle, right? Now just don't touch that hand, okay? Get your way to your table. You interact with one person. They get you seated. You sit down, take your mask off, sanitize your hands from the door that you touched, and you just sit there. And like we've essentially been quarantining with them. So,
nice.
You know what I mean? Like
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've done like family dinners together and play games and stuff. Let the kids go downstairs until 10, 11 o'clock at night, and we sit and have beverages and play games, card games or whatever. And and they've just become really good friends. Thank God. During this. Yeah, it's been huge. But yeah, it's like, and then then you get a server that waits on you with a mask on, and it's like, it's really not that big of a deal. Like I said, there are things I think that are safe as long as you're smart.
Yeah.
There's things though that are making me nervous. Like we had Chris had a coworker and we had a friend that went to an outdoor wedding and a ton of people got COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm not doing giant birthday parties. I'm not
No.
doing 25 person, 45 person parties. You know what I
maybe
mean?
I should
Jump
mention.
City.
Yeah, like my one of my good friends, she's getting married tomorrow, an outdoor wedding, and then please take this all out actually. But anyway, I'll just finish it because now you guys are. But I'm like,
I just about put Diet Dew all over your brand new beautiful setup.
But I'm like 20 people, right? Like maybe family, a couple close friends. I'm like, so how many people did you invite? She goes, well, 60 if everyone shows up. And his side of the family doesn't even believe COVID exists.
Don't get me started.
And they don't believe like even wear masks. So I'm like, all the last like 3 weeks since I asked her, I'm like, I don't think I can go. Like my stomach just feels yucky. Like why? Like in my job, they took us out of the ER. They took us out and now we do video assessments.
Oh,
like we don't even go
wow.
in patients' rooms because my team, we're so small. If one of us gets it and we all get it, there's no one. So it's like, okay, I do that. And I don't go and do a lot of things. Like, yeah, I'll go to Target and all that. But like hearing all
have
these
to.
people going to
You have
funerals and outdoor weddings getting sick, it's like, oh
Bar
crap.
hopping.
Can I just like
that is insane to me. I don't.
breaking news? How is this? Do we put an E for explicit on the episodes?
They're
or-
all explicit.
Okay. This fucking thing's real, okay?
Yeah.
Like I just so everybody, like, I want to just clear something up really quick. COVID's fucking real, okay?
It
Like
is.
I don't know if there's some people out there that think it's not. But it
grandma.
turns out that if you like
The entire
you
town of Princeton.
might be sick as fuck, right? And not show any of it, and then you breathe on, they're gonna get sick.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
crazy to me. Like I just,
Yeah.
it's so we're with you. We're being super safe just because we don't know. Elsie's history a little bit. We don't know. We
Yeah.
think she might have probably a compromised immune system. Just not gonna mess with it.
Yeah.
My dad smoked his whole life, and he's 75. My mom smoked a lot of her life and is overweight. She's 73.
I
Congestive
know.
heart failure.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
We don't
Holy
know this.
shit.
We don't know this for sure. But if either of them gets
I
it, it's
know.
probably a death sentence.
I
It
know.
could very well be, and we're just
Yeah.
not willing to. So we're being extra cautious.
I know. And that's like my dad. Well, my mom worked on the COVID unit at the nursing home she
Holy
worked
smokes.
at. And her and my dad lived together. My dad wouldn't even go in contact with her because my dad smokes like crazy. He's 67 and he's obese. So it's like, he's like, I don't want to get it. Like, I'll die. He told me if I get it, I will die. I know it.
Ugh.
He's already come to terms with it. So it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you just it's like the one thing we know for certain You don't have to have a medical degree to, you don't have to be like high-ranking Scientologist. Holy shit.
That's another episode.
You're right. That's a whole nother episode. You don't have to be a well-educated scientist to know the one thing that we know for 100% certain, and that is that we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not just be cautious?
I know.
I don't know. Like I've said this to her before, and we've talked about it, and I've said it to my parents too. Like we probably could go, the two of us could go shopping at Target without masks and maybe sanitize, maybe not. Be safe, then go to Home Depot without masks, be safe, and probably come home and be completely fine and not get anything. Probably. But who knows?
I know.
Yeah.
So why not? Like, is it really that big of an infringement on your rights to wear a
know.
mask?
I love
Shut
wearing
the fuck up and just wear a mask.
I love it.
The
Yeah.
one thing I don't like is the masks, the mask
chin ones?
face guards that cut off right here.
Yeah.
When you cough or sneeze, where do you think
It's
the
going to
stuff
shoot it right up.
goes?
Yeah.
Or if someone else in your area does it, it's probably gonna.
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
the
I know
point?
Layla wants one so bad. I'm like, honey, like it's a gap right here.
Yeah.
I know my
Mind the
niece
gap.
has the ones that go like here that are long that hook around your ears.
Yeah.
My sister got them on Amazon, and those make kids like breathe easier. And I think we're gonna get Elsie some because we got her a bunch from Old Navy because we didn't know if we were gonna send her to school, which we didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
We're keeping her home, which is God, that's been stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bet.
But anyway, I just don't understand like why people even buy those and why they're even
Yeah.
okayed.
I know.
You
And
want to pull
especially-
that Fugazi a
And
little
there's
closer
a
to you?
woman at Elsie's dance studio that bedazzled hers. I'm like, that's horrible. That's
Why do you keep backing up from the microphone? You have to be
Well,
on that
I mean,
thing.
they're those the chairs like you want to relax more. It's
Well, get on it, lady. You got to be up on
I
that
know.
thing.
Anytime I'm on a microphone near this guy,
Hey,
he
just
shoves it in my face.
Treat
do
that
the same
microphone.
thing.
Treat that microphone like you treat anything that's phallic.
yeah,
That's the opposite of real.
nice. And you can actually cock that thing. too.
Sorry,
you
what?
Can, you
He's
can
like-
manhandle. Yeah, you cock it around.
Grab it by the pussy.
I'm speaking of pussy. I'm glad you brought up movies. Glad you brought up movies before, because before we started recording, you were telling me that you had started something in October. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us?
Watching a scary movie every day of the month. Sometimes two if I'm lucky.
Ugh.
Oh my god!
I used to love scary movies, and then I started dating this guy who hates them. So, and it's
I'm
different.
such
High
a
five,
baby.
bro. High five.
No. I watch mine like
Pass.
during the day. But like I just watched Child's Play, the
Yuck.
2019. So stupid. It wasn't even. It was horrible.
What are you doing to the mic, Kim? Jesus. She's
So when I was a child, my mom, I don't know, remember when Child's Play came out, but my mom would have us watch it as children. That's why I'm terrified of dolls.
Fair.
Same.
My brother had like the My Buddy doll that looks like
My
Chucky.
buddy, my buddy and me.
Yeah.
Paul clearly does not have one.
He
Or
clearly
have one.
wanted one, and his
Yes.
parents wouldn't get it.
Never
for
got
him.
one. Never got one.
His birthday's on the 24th. If we can all find one.
Okay. What was
Probably.
the first movie that you watched?
October 1st.
Silent Hill, because I love that movie
Oh.
Is that the video game adaptation,
Yep.
right?
with the sirens that go off and the world
Dude,
turns to hell.
so we went and saw that movie in theaters, and on the way home, so we're kind of tense because it was a jumpy movie. And then a fucking raccoon went darting across the highway, and we both jumped like, ah!
Because you're already
This is my nightmare.
It was horrible.
This is my nightmare.
I thought you were going to hear tornado sirens. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, this
yeah.
is great.
No. What was the movie where they all died in it? That one horror movie.
That one. Wait, hold on.
Oh man, there's a whole
Rewind.
bunch. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
wait.
What's that
The-
one horror movie where
something-
they all died?
The
That narrows it down.
You mean when they were all dead?
there was like a trailer and then they all died. And the baby died. Okay, I don't remember. I'm
Dang,
really
I'm
going
gonna-
for,
I'm
I'm a
curious.
huge
Tell me
horror
more.
film fan, so you know.
Are you thinking of
They're
the
arcs.
Nicole Kidman one?
No, I love that one. The Others. Do you remember
Oh,
that
I
one?
love that one. But I like the possession, demon.
Demonic ones.
I
Yeah.
love those ones. Because I'm like, oh man, this could be kind of real.
I know. I listened to this other podcast. I'm not going to try and plug other podcasts on our podcast, but he talked about the real, like the Exorcism of Emily Rose, the real story behind that.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
Send me
freaky.
the
That
link.
stuff's freaky.
I should. It's, oh,
That's the kind of stuff I can get down on a little bit if it's got some realism to it. If
Okay.
it's just nonsense
do you
horror,
think dolls can't come to life?
right?
Did you
What
ever?
if they're possessed? Because
No.
there's that doll, that old school.
Annabelle.
There's Annabelle, but then there's that other doll, like the sailor doll.
That's Chucky's based off of that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Child's
that
Play.
is
Yeah.
true. Yes,
Yep.
that.
Have you seen the Osbournes Wanna Believe? It's a new show on Travel.
Really?
Ozzy and Sharon sit down with Jack, and Jack plays them paranormal, alien stuff, Bigfoot stuff, etc. And then they decide whether or not they believe it or not. And it's just the three of them having ridiculous banter. It's mindless, awesome fun.
That sounds amazing.
It is. It's
That
just
should be our nighttime
stupid.
show.
It's just
Oh,
stupid,
can
but
I
it's so
join
great.
if you do that?
Yeah.
Like,
But
I'm a
so they
professional.
actually did one with that doll, like the what is his name?
I don't remember
Sammy or
that sailor.
Gosh, yeah.
The sailor doll thing. But yeah, I'm gonna look up the sailor doll thing because now I'm curious.
But the Warrens, right? That's the paranormal team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they own that doll. It's in like their thing. Same with the Annabelle doll.
Oh, the Annabelle doll.
They kept a bunch of relics. I don't know
terrifying.
why you'd mess with that voodoo, but
Robert.
bring it home.
That's right, Robert.
Robert, yes. Because they had one. They got they're like they went to the place where that doll is, and they got like I guess they have a
The
gift.
thing
a
is
gift
he's
shop
not
or
even that
something.
terrifying looking. Just
No.
knowing.
Yeah.
That's what that doll.
Did you guys ever watch the movie The Boy?
No. See,
Oh, that's
I don't
good.
do doll movies
That's
anymore.
Care Bears?
that's
No?
what, that's not
So
the Omen,
it's
is
this,
it?
No, it's this woman that goes to this big mansion and has to watch this doll. But it
Watch a
can I
doll.
ruin it for you?
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
please.
Okay,
Please.
so it's their son that they had. They faked his death because he killed his little brother, and so he was hiding behind the walls and moving the doll while the caretaker was looking away. And she ends up killing that son at the end. But then they made a second one, or they are making a second one. So who knows where they're going to go
Can't
from
wait.
there? But
Can't wait. Sounds
Where
really good.
the ghost of that
that's what I'm
the
thinking.
boy,
I mean,
right?
that's the only direction you can go. But
Yeah.
So the doll doesn't actually move on its own.
No.
Oh God.
But still, what a creepy thought that there's a
Kid living.
child running
Yes.
around the
Ew.
walls.
Kids are the scariest too in movies. They're
Yeah.
the most terrifying.
Yep.
That whole like idea of parents
Uh-oh.
keeping.
I lost everything. I don't have any headphones.
Oh, really?
What's your favorite scary movie? Do you have a top 5?
Ooh.
I know you're a big Stephen King fan.
Yes.
Do you not like the movies, or are you more of the book?
No, I like the movies. The Shining, I think, is probably my favorite. And then
Doesn't suck.
you've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
I've
Which
seen it.
Doctor Sleep I did not like.
Well, but I just
That's
know
a
that it's
sequel.
good.
See,
though,
I
too.
heard some mixed reviews on that.
The book was really good, but
Jeez.
I won't ruin it. But they added something, and I'm like, you could have skipped that. It was really dumb. But
What about A Quiet Place? Where does that rank? Because that's one of my favorites.
yeah, that
Oh
would be
my
my top
gosh.
5.
That one's genius.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through our movies.
Poltergeist.
What about World War Z? Where
Chris
does that
cannot
rank?
stand that movie.
Which one?
Well, no.
That's
Not
no,
that I
it's
couldn't
not
scary
you
stand
to
can't
me,
stand. It's
though.
just super.
It's the anxiety of being a parent and trying to keep your kids safe. They did such a good job of making you
You're
like
talking about Poltergeist, right? Right?
no.
No.
What?
World War
World
Z.
War Z.
Oh, World War. Okay, yeah.
When Brad Pitt fights off one of the zombies and a little bit of the goo gets in his mouth and he goes and stands at the edge of a building and
starts
counts
counting,
to 10.
yeah.
I
Lost
was
it.
done
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, that's my nightmare."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt that way about I Am Legend.
About getting
He
goo.
loses his family to the
Yeah.
plague crap too.
Yeah.
You were just like you mean the goo in your mouth? Is that the part?
Yeah.
That's your Friday night, huh, babe?
Yeah. What's funny is we went and saw World War Z because you wanted to see it.
Yep.
I'm like,
It's a good movie.
it was so good.
Yeah.
Like it's really well done.
Very well
You know,
done.
if that's the thing, like you take stuff like that and you like it actually I think it actually was a bit of a social commentary. I don't remember exactly all the details of it, but I remember like, oh, you know what? There's a lesson to be learned here, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was just prejudice and stuff like that, and racial profiling, or something along those lines. And I love when you can take something that's so in the fantasy world of. I mean, some people think that the zombie apocalypse is actually coming, but I'm not a believer. So. And so when you can take something to me that feels so far fetched and turn it into like a life lesson. That kind of stuff. Like District 9. Have you seen that?
Oh my God.
That too. Totally not in my wheelhouse, but it was such a cool statement on society. And again, I don't remember the exact message because it's been a long time, but yeah.
More or less the same.
Movies are awesome. I don't know if you guys knew that.
They picked South Africa for a reason because of apartheid and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's a
great movie.
You want to hear something?
Really good movie.
So your dad and your brother were talking to me today. So they were watching something about apartheid, and Landon was in the room watching, and they didn't realize he was watching. And then Josh, I think that's when Josh drove him to Quick Trip.
Okay.
And Landon goes, so when people that are colored moved here, they weren't allowed the same rights as everybody else.
He didn't know?
No. And Uncle Josh was like, no. And Landon's like, well, why? That's really stupid.
You posted about that.
No, this was something else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, but no, that was another thing. Yeah.
That was a really cool post, actually, because it kind of like, it makes you realize that it reminds you, I guess, that our kids are a blank canvas. Yeah. And, you know, like the prevailing thought, not to get super deep here, but when all the George Floyd stuff was going down and then the city was incredibly tense, I was like, how do we deal with this? And it's not, I'm not sure that Black Lives Matter is the answer. I don't think any 50-year-old white dude is going to change their mind. What we need to do is we need to instill in our kids so that the next generations can be more accepting of everything. And that's like, we go out of our way. Like I can still remember us talking about this when Elsie went to Primrose. One of the girls she played with was a little black girl. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I think did I take her to school or I pick her up? I took her, right?
Depends on what year.
Yeah, whatever way. I either picked her up or I dropped her off, one or the other. And I just remember asking her, I was trying to probe in a way that wasn't leading in any way. Mm-hmm. But I remember just saying, like, I was trying to get to the bottom of, did you see a difference between the, and she didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't. Yeah. Like, you know, like, I think she said something like her hair was a little different or something like that. But I'm like, you don't see that you're white as hell and she's black as hell? Like, you don't see that at all, do you? You know, I mean, she was 4 or 5 or whatever. It was preschool. But I was just like, that was such a lesson to me, you know?
And that's with Landon too, because he always kept asking about both parties. And it's like, it doesn't, like, I don't want him to know, like, there's this side and this side, because it's gray. Who cares about what this side is and what this side believes? Because it doesn't really matter. Like, the most important thing, because you can have a crappy this side person, you can have a crappy this side person, you can have a crappy...
Or you can have both.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, you can have both crappy people.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like me and Landon, I talk about kindness, like, because he's always been a very kind and sweet kid. And I remind him, like, just keep being that kind of person.
Yep.
If you know someone's different than you, they look different, they don't have the same kind of clothes, like, you just need to be kind.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yep.
Because I don't want him to just think, okay, I'm going to follow these beliefs because that's what my parents believe in.
Right.
Because I don't want that either. And I kept telling him, I want you to decide what you believe. Well, even religion-wise, like... Everything.
Yeah,
I want you to make those decisions. And I said, at the end of the day, we will support any belief that you have as long as you're a kind person.
Well, remember...
End of story.
Back in 2016, we would, allowed, like most parents do, just talk to each other about the shit that's bothering us. And we couldn't grasp like why people voted for Donald Trump, and like so we would blur back and forth.
Was he a douchebag? I forget.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I thought so too.
So Landon one day was like, Trump is stupid, and I was kind of like laughing like yeah, and then he goes, and people who voted for him are stupid, and I was like, no.
Well, no, yeah.
And so I had to like sit him down and be like, you need to know that like mom and dad are going to say stuff, but people vote. So I had to go on the other side and say, there is a reason why people are voting for him. That these people are scared, just like mom and dad are scared of X, Y, Z. And that's why grown-ups vote the way that they do. It's, usually because they're afraid of what the other side is going to do.
Right. Well, and to your point about the gray area is that we need so much more gray area.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched The Social Dilemma yet?
No, I'm afraid to watch it.
Yeah, you're gonna be.
Yeah,
but
same.
but it's one of those things where you should be afraid to watch it, and I totally get that. But you should, because
Yeah.
it's more of an educational piece than anything. Like, this is terrifying, but the biggest thing I took out of it is that in the next 5 to 10 years, we're probably heading for a civil war. And a lot of that is thanks to social media. Where the hell was I going with this? But just that divide, I guess, is what I was talking about, which is we need so much more gray area, you know, like that this. What is it? It feels like it's a quote. I know it's a quote from something like, come on over to the fucking gray, man. I don't remember what it's from, but you know, it's like nobody wants to say this, but you know, Trump has done some stuff that actually is good. You know, like, it's the overwhelming fact that he's just an evil, maniacal, despicable. Like when I critique him, I hardly ever touch on politics. Because I don't even get to that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about being like, don't be like Joe Biden. At least doesn't seem like I don't think he's a great politician. And that's why I said I don't know, or both sides. You know,
No.
I don't think either side is great. It's kind of like, would you rather have the shit with corn in it or the shit with carrots in it? You know, basically. But it's just like, just don't be it's the first rule of the world, right? Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
I believe he's killed people or had them killed. I believe he's a rapist. I believe he's slept with women that are way underage. Fuck, he says about his own daughter. Like, if she was my daughter, I'd probably date her. Like, that's our president. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no decorum at all. At least Biden has some class and some. Like, I remember when it used to be I don't want to turn this into a big political thing.
No.
It's just, you know, it's how do you not talk about it right now? How do you not talk about pandemic? And how do you not talk about this election? I mean, it's impossible, right?
Yeah.
And
one thing that irritates me is when people make fun of Biden's stutter. Like, you're basically making fun of his disability.
Right.
Just like Trump made fun of someone with a disability. Like, now all you guys are making, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's what it's come to.
Yeah. And if someone was constantly interrupting me in my ear when I'm trying to talk, and you have a stutter, I would stutter more. And they're old.
The oldest.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the times when he would talk before was very like far and in between. Like, he wasn't as thrust into the foreground as he has been now. So like, of course you're going to see some of that stuff come out. It's like somebody with an accent, like somebody who's dodged their Southern accent. Every now and then you're going to get a little twang in there.
Hell yeah, son.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then you'll get my like really northern Minnesota to come out. Like,
me too.
you know what I mean?
When I
Like,
get mad.
yeah.
Oh, really?
My O's get
Like-
really long.
And your A's, because you're like, when I get mad, you just did it.
Yeah. Chris
When I
knows.
get mad.
And they make him and the kids both all make fun of me.
Really?
Well, I mean,
Why are you making fun of her disability, man?
My Minnesotan disability.
Yeah, her accent. It's like it's dicey, man. It's like the whole thing is so. I'm scared.
I try to get better
I'm
about
scared.
talking about it in front of Landon, because I don't want him to be going to school and be like this and this and this about this politician, because I don't want there to be any animosity. Because after our conversation, he goes, "But he's a sexist," and I go, "What's a sexist?" And Landon's like, "They're not nice to women," and I go, and that's when we talked about women not being able to vote, and I said, he has not said such nice things about women, and it's just like, my gosh, at 11 he absorbs so much. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
Spencer,
He's right though. He is a sexist. So.
Yeah.
being a female immigrant, it's got to be extra hard for you with all
Female immigrant.
all this stuff going on. What with the being from Croatia?
Oh,
She's from Bangladesh. Actually.
Oh,
yeah.
I get those two mixed up all the time.
Yeah, Croatia and Bangladesh.
that was my other alias. Okay.
But no, I mean, when you have been around different classes of people for a while, and
Vagabond, I believe, is the word you were looking for. Yeah.
so it's
Well-traveled.
I mean,
because
it's,
you lived on bases and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So
And
going
trailer parks, like, everywhere.
so ultra conservative to the ignorant to a different class that like people don't talk about as much, which is like people who are well spoken, like Mike Pence is incredibly well spoken, fairly evil individual.
Right.
Like,
He actually came out. I don't know about you. Did you guys watch the debate?
I watched about half, but then I had to help Landon with his homework
I
because he
actually
wanted
thought
to.
he came off as likable. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm not
dangerous.
saying I do. I'm just saying that's, like it was like, I didn't expect.
I think it's because we
kind
were
of-
used to the other debate where it was constantly no one got a word in.
Right.
Right.
Where this time they're at least letting each other talk. I mean, there
For
are
the
times-
most
For the
part.
most part, yeah.
because he is a politician and he does get, you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah,
understands
see.
the rules, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least, but it, like, that's like, think about like what we're judging this on. We're judging it on like, can you have some basic manners?
yeah.
But he was like you said, he's well spoken and he's,
He is.
he I don't know. Anyway, I was shocked at my response. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I kind of like the way he presents himself. I'm not saying
It's
But
But it's in a
It's
professional
refreshing. Yeah,
poli-
I get what you
It's
mean.
not a reality show.
Yeah. That said, I still the other side. She's like, Kamala's a badass.
She is such a badass. I'm like, damn
Can she
girl.
run for president?
I know, that's what I was thinking, and I'm
That's
like,
next.
No, she if Biden wins,
he's gonna
I'll bet you anything she ends up president.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
he's old.
That's what I was thinking too. Now back
And he's
to
not the healthiest dude in the world either. Yeah, we can
question
move
that
it.
I had for
Yeah.
Spencer. So, being that you've seen every walk of life, like when all of this stuff was going down, I'm curious as to like where you felt your trepidations, in that you knew that there's this set of eyes watching you, so you could really go either way, but at the same time, you have all of these people that you have to be on guard if you say the wrong thing.
My family is super conservative, pro-Trump, and like when the whole transgender thing was coming out, I was super passionate. Like, they're people. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
get off your soapbox. They're not going to fucking rape your kids in the bathroom. Like, they're mostly
No, but
targeted.
politicians might
Yeah.
in an
Yeah,
airport.
They're mostly targeted themselves. I mean, their suicide rates are crazy, but no one was
Yes.
looking at any of that. They just think they're sick fucks. And I'm like, no.
And the psychological testing and the stuff they have to go
Yes.
through to even transition.
And I've worked
Yeah.
with some transgender people. Like, that takes a lot to be able to do that for yourself. It's not like they wake up one day and want to be a woman or
Yeah.
want to be a man. Like, it's
The
a lot of shit.
the
man.
producer that we have on Dude Absolutely is transgender.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Oh, wow.
we had her on. I've known her for a long time. I knew her way back when, but the surgeries that she's been through, like the stuff that she has told us about, it's just like no one does that with ulterior motives.
Right.
Like
Right.
Yeah.
you're doing it because you absolutely don't feel you at all.
And she told
Yeah.
us her story where it was very young. She felt like she was a female. And it was-
Imagine having to mask that your whole life.
That's what I was gonna say. Is she's in her mid-30s, so she's like gay panic and I didn't even think about this, but she was talking about how in Ace Ventura, how that detective being
yeah.
transgender was like a horrible thing, and everyone was made to think that that person was a villain, and they only did it because of. So there's
I
always
never thought
ulterior.
about that.
I know, it's super
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah.
And she's got all kinds of other like examples of that, but like I can't imagine having this and not even really knowing like that's really your only example is this one vilified thing.
So do you think? I mean, did she view that as something that was damaging and not okay and insensitive? Even though Ace Ventura was a long time ago when
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
more was acceptable.
Well,
than,
for her it was just like all of the things that she like looks back on is it just made her feel like it definitely needed to be a secret, even though she didn't know what being transgender really was or anything like
Right.
that. She just knew that whatever this feeling is definitely needs to, like at one point she was like, oh, I forget what the turning point was, or not the turning point, but the nail in the coffin when she was like, oh, I have to die with this. No one can ever know. Like she wouldn't drink because she never wanted to slip up and fuck up and say the wrong thing. And so, yeah, she was convinced that she was going to have to die with that.
Yeah.
Wow. Just like, well, at least we always can improve as a people, but at least we've gotten to a point now where she doesn't feel like she has to die with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least we've gotten to a point where it's, you're not a complete, like, I don't know, freak outcast. I think it's at least, I believe most sane people and reasonable people accept, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, what the hell is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like that, and I think even 5-10 years ago a lot more people would look at it like, what the hell is that?
Well, I think
it's way more. People are way more accepting now than, and we've made a lot of strides. I think in that regard.
It was like 2012 or 2013. There was a state that still had a trans panic, like, I don't know, clause or like law, where if you committed a murder because you found out that somebody was transgender, so like the age old fucking, they tricked me into thinking they were a lady and then it turns out they weren't. They thought that there was a psychological reason as to why that person.
So that wouldn't be murder. Is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Or you couldn't be tried for like first degree murder. It would just be, the poor guy, he got tricked into sleeping with a lady man. Like,
I call those white man laws.
Yeah, no shit. It's insane.
Yeah, so like I got a bunch of shit from my family, a little bit from his family about being like vocal about transgender. And then even now, like I still post some things about I'm pro-abortion. Your body, your business has no effect on me. Obviously, I do think there should be some guidelines, like
shouldn't be used as a form of birth control.
No. Yeah. And I mean, at a certain date, like right now, like you can't get it past a certain
current
time.
laws right now.
Current laws, basically, yeah. And I get shit about that, but I'm like, I'm fighting for my kids' future. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I know.
My grandchildren, I don't know what they're gonna do. And
they're
same with gay
Mars,
rights. I mean,
they're gonna terraform and fucking.
Hopefully,
could you imagine?
Save us, Elon. Take us to another planet where we can start over.
Let's get
same with
abortions
gay
on
rights.
Mars.
I mean, I used to care what people thought, but I don't care. And if you have a problem with it, that's on you. I can have a safe, like, reasonable conversation, but that's also been proven to not go over well with some people.
Yeah. Tough shit. Like I shared your thing that you did yesterday, the abortion thing that you posted.
And the masks.
And and a guy that I used to work with commented. He said, "What about nothing about the life inside the uterus?" It's like,
what?
Have you guys seen Reversing Roe on Netflix? That's where I get all of my education now. It's just I just go to Netflix and I learn everything. It's like my encyclopedia / library / everything. And
it's better than getting your information from Netflix or from Facebook
or the USA Today,
Wikipedia.
But it's just there's a great quote in the documentary. I'm trying to recall exactly how it was worded, but basically, human life or whatever how is it worded? Basically, it shouldn't be between a woman and her government. It should be between a woman and her doctor. Why is this even a political issue?
Yeah.
Like,
that's very interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be up to some freaking white privileged asshat in Congress or wherever deciding it. Like, I get what you're saying. I don't think any reasonable person would say that it shouldn't be used as a form of birth control.
No.
But you're telling me that if a woman is unwillingly raped, she should have to carry that burden and that reminder for 9-10 months and then live with it for the rest of her life as well and raise it, et cetera, et cetera.
Same with daddy getting frisky, like.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
I got in a fight with a girl on Facebook because I shared the mask. It's similar to kind of what the mask, like my body, my choice.
Right.
And she came at me about abortion. And she was like, have you even seen those clinics? Have you seen this documentary? I'm like, I actually got pregnant at 19. And I was in an abortion clinic and I was going to get an abortion. And they were very nice. They showed me the ultrasound and I said, I can't do this. And they said, all right. And they were the kindest people.
Come on in, bud.
They're not looking for...
So Layla put her phone in the lamp thing. She took it out. The lamp thing got kind of wiggly. And then it fell and this glass shattered.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
They couldn't even the lady couldn't even friend me back on Facebook. So they've lived there. It'll be 2 years this month. And like our kids have always played together. They have a teenage boy.
Wait, what were we talking about before all that? Glass
Abortions.
Shmushmortions.
Do you want to
All
go
right.
back to that?
Yeah, let's wrap
Okay.
up the shmushmortion thing first.
Okay.
Anyway,
I just women should be able to make that choice themselves.
Right.
Anyway, Anyway, to finish, she was attacking me and she's like, "You need to watch this documentary." And I'm like, "I don't think you understand. Like, I've literally been in that room.
yeah.
They were not disrespectful at all." And it's just like, and why does it matter to you? Like, we decided not to go through with it. They were super kind about it. It is not cheap. So
There's
like
also
people definitely don't use that as a birth control because it's like
No.
500 and some. I can't even remember how much it was then. It
And
was like
insurance doesn't pay for
it
it.
does not pay for it. No.
there's also no dumpsters full of babies, and something that I can't believe I still hear is people thinking that Hillary Clinton wanted to allow abortions up until the day before they give birth, which is absolutely out of control.
Well, it's that what do they call it? It was in Reversing Roe, partial birth abortions or something like
I
that.
think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
It's a made up term. It's not even. It's nothing
Yeah.
from the medical field.
Yeah.
It's a made up term. And yeah, I the bottom line is that it's sort of like marijuana, or hardcore drugs. And I'm not saying we should legalize heroin.
No.
But at the same time, people are going to find it. People are going to have abortions, whether it's regulated or legal or not. So you might as well just allow people to do it.
and
So
regulate
that
it and have
have-
safe.
yeah,
Yeah.
make money off of it, which we all need. Keep it safe and sterile, and give them guidance.
Yeah.
Because almost every single woman that's featured in this documentary talks about how they want a relationship with a doctor, to have conversations and to work through it, because it's not an easy thing to do. I don't care
Yeah.
where you're at in life.
mentally or physically.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it's just crazy to me that like life starts at conception. It's like it's not an easy decision in any regard, but
Absolutely not. No.
it's how is it like
Then
I'm not slamming him, but he's the figurehead right now. How is it Donald Trump's decision?
yeah.
yeah.
How is it Capitol Hill's decision? Like I don't understand how they figure in to a lady in Idaho having an abortion. Like I just don't understand that.
and why is it always up to the woman? Why is it always her problem?
Yep. 100%.
But at the same time, it's your uterus, and so I almost think that
She's saying like the burden of knowledge of
Yeah.
like all
Yeah.
of that, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming-
Yeah.
yeah.
But at the same time, I almost think that men shouldn't even. I don't know that men should even be allowed to weigh in.
I'm not saying they have to weigh in, but like if I got raped by a man, it's
Yeah.
all my problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I have the baby, it's still my problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And if I had a one night stand, it's still going to be my problem. Like, why aren't we holding men more accountable for any of this?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then back to abortions, like Planned Parenthood, people just think that that's all they do. But no, they do STD
Oh my
testing, they do
gosh, so
mammograms,
much.
I mean, birth control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. When
Up-
I was poor and I didn't have health insurance, that's where I went and got
Same
my physicals.
here.
That's where I went and got my birth
Yep.
control.
Wow,
That's
I didn't even know that.
yeah.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
not just an abortion clinic. In
Yeah.
my middle school, there was a Planned Parenthood right there, and our bus would always drive past these nuns holding up pictures of like dead babies. It was traumatizing.
So I thought you were gonna say in your middle school you stopped at Planned Parenthood. I was gonna like, what?
Little do you know.
That's one thing that like a big turning point, because like defunding Planned Parenthood was getting some traction, and then when they started to find out, oh wait, that's where you can get a
Even
mammogram
men
that
go
you
there
can,
and get like STD testing
Yep.
and stuff.
when
Yep.
people
It's not
started to
just
figure
girls.
out all of the things that they
Yeah.
were going to lose, because Planned Parenthood had to start contacting people and saying, okay, if this happens, then you're not going to be able,
Right.
we won't be able to do this, so you should contact your insurance just in case. And people are like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
We're gonna
and
lose all
like sex
this stuff.
education classes, because for some reason parents think their kids don't do the hibbity dibbity.
The hibbert.
And so you can get condoms. Like
Turns
there's
out they
so
do.
many, I know, weird, right? There's so many resources there. But yeah, like people are like, oh shit,
Yeah.
they just don't do abortions.
Well, I got news for you. They're not. Those people aren't letting up. So it's going to be a constant battle
Yeah.
for
Oh,
Planned
for sure.
Parenthood. And they won't rest. They're hell
Girl
bent
Scouts.
on getting this thing nuked,
Yeah.
getting abortion wiped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Girl Scouts apparently, which I'm cool with, gives money to Planned Parenthood in some way or form or something like that. And I have a few like Christian friends
Yeah.
that are like, you should not have LC in Girl Scouts because they help fund Planned Parenthood. I'm like, that's exactly why I should have her in Girl Scouts, because they do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Let's have her walk around her entire childhood with a pillowcase over her head.
and I'm raising
And no
little
knowledge of
feminists,
anything.
and I have
Yeah.
no, like,
Yeah.
I'm not sorry about it. Like, I have tiny feminists in the making.
100%, man. Cha.
I'm a feminist. I love women.
It takes
we
so
know.
little to be like, people associate feminism with like this
Crazy
almost
person.
terrorist
Yeah.
organization.
Hairy
Like,
armpit.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Which I'm for that too.
Hey,
Some
do
of-
you.
some of them-
Hairy armpits.
I have
He wouldn't
told you
either.
how many times.
Like, you could braid mine and
You go
color
nuts.
it.
You do not.
No, you could.
If
but you
you
wouldn't like
grew
it.
it out.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Some of them are like terrorists, though.
Oh, for sure.
There's some
Yeah.
but
Like the
that's-
ones from
that's the-
Borat.
Oh my God! Yeah, when he's joking. We watched that the other night. Did you see Borat 2, the trailer?
Oh, the trailer. Yeah.
Next 2 Fridays from now on Amazon Prime.
I can't believe they were able to pull it off. Like, in this climate, like, that movie is like, Sacha Baron Cohen is such a smart person.
Agreed.
So like the things that he did in that film, the first one, were pointing out problems that were going on in the world.
Right.
And I still remember when he got an award for it, there was this woman who didn't speak very good English, and she was trying to ask this question, and everybody was kind of
Was
like,
she a is that why?
Yeah, I think so. She was trying to sell watches outside afterwards.
Yeah.
But Sacha Baron Cohen was like, "Are you trying to ask if I think that this is going to inspire anti-Semitism throughout the world?"
How'd you get that?
Like, the room went silent, and he was like, "I don't think so. I think if anything, this is a reflection of the way things could be, and so we should, continue to talk about this stuff."
Yeah. I've always been in favor of that art form.
Yeah.
I'm still a big fan of like NWA. That was the first thing that came to my mind. It's like, yeah, is it sexist as hell? And is it violent as hell? Yeah. You know why? Because that's exactly how their neighborhoods are.
Yeah.
You don't like it, maybe we should help or do something
Yeah.
about it. Like, that's kind of like the whole idea, I think. And that with Borat too. I think Borat Part 2 is going to be just, I think it's going to be just as awesome.
Bruno? His other movie.
Not good. Not good. Bruno, not good. Borat, yes. Bruno, no.
Dude, I was crying laughing. Like, again, it obviously wasn't as good as Borat, but there's a
In
there's
Bruno?
there's a transition part in Bruno where it's a spinning dick, and then it stops, and they animated the urethra to go Bruno, and watching a penis
Maybe I need to
scream
watch it
Bruno.
again.
And
I need to watch it
when
again.
he tries to interview Harrison Ford, he's like, "Harrison Ford, I want to," and Harrison
I need to
just
watch
goes,
it
"Get the
again.
fuck away from me."
I think I've
I
only
love
seen it
that.
once. I think I've only seen Bruno once in
I've
the
seen
theater.
it twice, but it has some like good things in there too
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
how
yeah.
the world works.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Fucking Borat, where they're chasing each other through the hotel naked. Oh my god!
Paul got hard on. Not bad.
Yeah.
And they're essentially 69ing each other in the bed. Like, it's just
His favorite.
his big, fat, hairy, white ass is like in Sacha Baron Cohen's face. It's just like, oh my god! It's just, oh god! It's just hysterical. So good. And
Yeah.
when he sings the Kazakhstan national anthem to the Star Spangled Banner. Kazakhstan is the greatest country in the world. It's so good. Fuck, it's good. I can't wait for 2. I bet it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Back to Chris being a racist.
Back to me being racist.
Oh yeah, your neighbors.
Yeah. So Kim had gotten a sign. Like,
I forgot that we like totally tangented off of that.
No, we had to go back to what we were talking
Yes.
about. Yeah.
You're that's the conductor of the train.
I'm getting better at it.
He is
trying to-
getting way
yeah.
better at it.
Yeah, but you're like that's like I'd forgotten. Like that's
Oh yeah.
Well, because
you're doing
know.
produce.
I love to hear what people think. Like, every time I tell people this story, they're like, Chris? Like, I'm like, yeah, Chris is apparently a racist. So we had a sign that says science is real, women's rights are human rights, Black Lives
love
Matter,
it.
like that one. So we had that, and we had it out for a while. And then Landon, and I love Landon. He's the sweetest kid ever. And I'm not just saying that because he's my kid, but he's so kind-hearted. And we had an issue with like him getting bullied by a couple of his friends this last summer. So I'm a little more like hyper vigilant. So I like was watching him outside. All the boys were playing basketball in their hoop over here, over there. And I'm like, okay, watching from the window. Things were going great. Okay. Came down here. We were getting ready to podcast. And he had come inside and went to his room. I'm like, maybe we should go check on him. And he's just laying in his bed, not playing video games. I'm like, oh, are they all done playing like basketball? He goes, no. I go, did something happen? And he gets like very worried to say anything. I'm like, did something happen? Like, did you do something? Did someone else? Well, the dad came out from the garage and said that I can't play with these big boys and I need to go home. And I'm like, what? Like, did you do something? Like, did something happen? Well, no. And so then I'm like, gotta get dad involved. I'm like, okay, Chris. To preface, we've had issues earlier in the summer, but this happened after all the George Floyd things. So we didn't know like, if like they had things going on. So like he had yelled at my brother who wanted to play basketball with his son and a neighbor boy, which I get, some older guys coming out to play basketball with your teenage boy. Fine.
And who doesn't live in the neighborhood. So there were things that we could like make excuses
Landon
for.
And his Landon's buddies biked in from town. He was on the sidewalk on the other side of the house and he yelled at Landon and his cousin to go to your own sidewalk. Whatever.
Jesus.
I'm like,
Gran Torino
okay.
business
I'm like, whatever. And then
Get
Layla
off
was
my lawn. Yeah, exactly. Good
Layla
call.
was jumping on their trampoline with their youngest little boy who's like 3-ish. And he yelled at her to be more careful. And I had been watching her from the window and she knows how to play with little kids.
But yelling though?
Like, yell. Like, hey, make sure you're being careful. I'm like, okay, maybe he's just yelling in a dad voice. I
was going to say, like, to preface, like, there is like this, you hear white people say a lot, which is, why do they sound so angry? And so
that's why I'm like,
in the back of my mind, I was
a...
like, look, that is just the way he talks.
He's probably not being a douche. At the same time, though, back to the sidewalk thing, I got news for you. That is my sidewalk.
I know. I pay taxes on that
sidewalk. Is all sidewalk. Sidewalk. It's not like.
So I'm like, okay,
it's not your
he could
sidewalk.
Be using his dad
asshat.
voice. Maybe things are happening in their life. Whatever. Okay, let it go. This was like, okay, what's really happening here? So then you can tell the rest of the story because I followed like him out the door and then I turned around and came back in because I got really anxious.
Well, because I've told the kids a bunch of times when something happens, I'm like, is that everything that happened?
Because they know that dad's gonna go.
And I'm like, I let them know that's okay. This is what mom and dad are for. If this is what happened, then I will go and talk to them. That's why we're here. So he said, okay. I went over and I was about to knock on the door and I hear like thump, 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 thump. And then he comes barreling out of the front door and I had stuck my hand out to shake his hand and he blew right past me. And I was like, hey man,
Excuse me,
I'm Chris. And he's like, hey man, what's going on? What's the problem? I was like, oh, I just, Landon had said, and he cut me off and he was like, yeah, he don't come around here. I was like, what do you mean? He don't come around here. You don't play with these kids. I was like, they play every day. He was like, no, man, he never comes around here. I don't know you. We lived here for a whole year. Everybody else in the neighborhood has come and said hi to me. You never come and said hi to me. And I was like, I am sorry. I've seen you out of your house maybe 2 times. We've never had that chance. And he was like, nah, man, that's bullshit. Everybody in the neighborhood's come and said hi to me. He was like, as far as I'm concerned, you're fucking racist. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like,
what do you say to that?
You're at this point to where like, the weird thing is like, in confrontations, I get like real jittery and like adrenaline.
That's
I
natural.
didn't feel that at all.
Chris just was like, okay.
Like I was just like, you could tell there was something else. Like, and when he's doing all this stuff, like, it's so obviously is not about me. Like, I don't know what's going on, and I still have no idea. But anything that I throw back at you is not going to help.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, man, you got me. And he was like, yeah, man, get the fuck on.
I came out the door as he was screaming, get the fuck on. And all these kids are still playing at the basketball hoop, staring at what's going on.
Probably asking still, like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, his oldest boy, like, ran up, like, Dad, what's going on? And then we have these new neighbors that moved across the street, and their youngest boy ran home, thought it was so unfair about how, well, we didn't find this out until later.
Yeah.
He ran home. And then our friends, like our neighbor on the corner, the little boy came over and he was like, hey, Landon, let's go play at my house. Like, this was because Landon came home and like he was bawling hysterically.
Wow.
And we kept telling him, it's not you. It's not about you.
Yeah. So
we just can't play at their house anymore. If they want to come play here, that's fine until we resolve this. And It never got resolved. I tried friending the mom on Facebook because I've talked to her. Our gardens are right next to each other. I would talk to her all the time.
Yeah, she is
Ever since then,
such a sweet lady.
Ever since then, completely shut off. Won't even wave at us. Won't look at us. I never see her outside anymore.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But I mean, that again, like, plays to the point of, like, whatever he has going on, he's clearly bled that into
Projecting it onto you.
Yeah.
projecting. And then, and I said this before, but like, you think about somebody who had something traumatic happen with a dog, like when they were younger. They can't help it. They're going to be jumpy around dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what his interactions are with white people before.
Right.
And if that's the case,
Oh, is
then
he
that
not white?
no,
Oh,
no,
because
black
now I'm
family.
like,
I didn't
Jesus,
even
like-
realize that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm caught up.
So black family, and so that's, I was like, if he's had something traumatic happen, and any of us look like anybody that he has dealt with in the past, like,
could be a trigger.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
have no idea what
Chris
like,
didn't take it personally. I did. I was like very heated about it. I'm
Well,
like,
especially if you're not, you're like, Jesus, like, because being white, unfortunately, especially if you're a male, people are going to assume you're racist.
yeah.
And
Seems like that. And my two takeaways are, number one, need more of the way you handled that. We need more of that in the world, because you were understanding of what his situation
than
could
me,
be.
yeah.
I would have acted the way you did. But that's what that's my biggest takeaway from that, is that it's like you were empathetic and understanding of, well, you know what, maybe he's got something going on. We need so much more of that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and this is so not, this is not a favorable thing for me to say, but I'm going to say it because I believe it to be the truth. We need to just stop throwing racist around.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh,
Like
for
it's
sure.
a fucking softball. I mean,
and the thing is, all those
it's
kids
become
hear that.
it's become
then.
fashionable
Yes.
to
Yeah.
say it, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Like,
And the thing,
Anyway.
like, what that upset me the most too is like, well, two things. You came out and yelled at my son. Like, what if Landon was on the spectrum and didn't do well with adults yelling at him? And the fact the year that we had was already shit to begin with, and now Landon's friends like all can play together and he can't.
right.
Like, I got the mama bear came out with me in that.
Yeah.
And then the other part that really upset me is the fact that if any of their kids get injured, like, and I want to help, like, they're in the road, the parents are busy, and I want to go help them. How are the parents going to react to me when I try and go help their kids?
No, they're going to be thankful then.
Well, yeah, but
Probably.
I mean, I don't want them to think poorly of us, that if something were happening, that we wouldn't help them even after what happened. Because at the end of the day, if something's going on, even with one of those two as adults, like the dad falls out, he's mowing the lawn, falls over. I'm not going to stand here and be like, cool, you called us a racist. I'm not going to help
Fuck
you.
you.
Yeah. But I don't want them to ever think like, I don't know.
Good luck with breathing and stuff.
Yeah. Good luck over there breathing.
Yeah.
But it's just, the thing that bums me out is the fact that the mom was always so nice and all that, and all of a sudden like completely shut off, not willing to talk to us about it.
Well, I think, and I hate to say that, but I think that whatever he said to her, obviously either changed her mindset, and like he was able to convince her of something else, or he just scared her into not being able to interact with us.
But what was nice about this whole situation is, so the people that moved across the street from us, they're also black. And Chris came home from work one day, and you can tell, I guess.
Oh yeah. I came home from work, and a car pulled up in front of the driveway and like blocked off the driveway, and I was like, man, is somebody gonna be complaining about our shitty yard or what's going on? And it was our neighbor. His name's well, actually I'm not gonna say his name, but he was like, hey, I'm so and so, it's nice to meet you, and had a conversation and we're talking, and then he just starts going like this. He's like pointing at the other house. He's like, I heard what happened, and I want you to know that that's not okay.
Oh,
That's really cool.
And he was like, my son came home and was so upset, and they tell me every couple of days, like, we don't see him anymore. He doesn't get to come and play with us anymore. And it like bums his kids out. So like, and he was like, that's his own thing, but I need you to know that you are not a racist, and we shouldn't. You shouldn't feel like that's a reflection on like the black community. Like, that's not the way that we want to be represented. And like, it was just very, very, very sweet.
Did
Yeah,
he
very cool.
kind of find out what that dude's problem was?
I don't know,
is
he didn't say anything.
No.
Okay.
I think he heard it all secondhand from his kids because his kids
Right.
were all outside.
But
And
I like that people can have conversations. Like, just so you know, like, this doesn't reflect the whole white community, or this doesn't reflect the whole black
Yeah.
community.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very nice. of
And
him
what
to
was
do.
interesting is like he was over there him and his buddy were over there at the other guy's house, and Chris came home and he waved at the guy that came over.
Oh
and
yeah, I
introduced himself,
waved
and
to
he
him
waved back.
every time I see him.
Yeah.
I wave at him. Oh,
'Cause
you're
I-
talking about the other guy. Yeah, they were.
They were over there and Chris waved
But no,
over at them.
I waved to him. I waved to
Yeah,
him
but
every
that
day too.
one-
Yeah,
day.
keep waving to him. Seriously, kill him with kindness.
Yeah.
Classic,
Yeah.
you know. It's what we just talked about is more of what we need in the world. Like,
It's
especially
tough, though.
especially with social media. Every like social media is a megaphone for small isolated incidents. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Your neighbor over here is one bad example.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It probably doesn't even have anything to do with him being. It might have something to do with him being black, because, like you said, maybe an interaction, a traumatic experience with a white cop, or who knows what.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but that's not like your other neighbor said. That's not how we want to be represented.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? And you're talking about that happened during the George Floyd stuff, and it's like, you know what, that asshat cop is not a fair representation of police. Generally speaking, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like it's both sides, and it goes back to that gray area we were talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
There needs
Yes.
to be so much more fucking
I
gray
live
area.
in the gray. I work in mental health. Everything's gray. So
Yeah,
I
it's-
thrive in gray.
Well, you're wearing gray.
I love gray. Look at the walls.
That is a lot of gray.
There's a lot of gray in this
I
house.
get that. I'm also not like everybody else. Like
Yeah, we know.
I'm
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
like,
I know when he came home and I was like, oh my gosh, like I was fuming. I'm like, Mama Bear, I'm like, I'm moving. We're selling this house. And then we decided for other reasons, financial reasons.
So what I'm trying to say though is I get that it's not that easy for other people. Like I get that, like hearing those like types of confrontations, and I'm not saying that in like as I'm better than or anything. I just have a different brain. Like my brain goes into different areas, and I've been that way forever. Like how
It drives me crazy because I get Mama Bear. I get like angry. I'm not going to attack
But you
anybody.
are a mama bear.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah. But in my head, I'm like, that son of a bitch. Like, he came out and yelled
You're
at my
done.
kid.
You're
Yep,
dead.
Yep.
You're dead,
You're done
pal.
to me. You're done. But then at the end of the day, Chris coming back in and being so calm, being like, man, I wonder what's going
Yeah, but
on
doesn't that
with
make
him.
you even more mad, though?
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck,
Who gives
dude?
a shit what's going on with him? This is what's going on with me.
Yeah. But then with Chris being so calm, it's like, okay, yeah. It's not about any of us, really. It's just
Probably
like,
not. Yeah.
Who
That's
knows?
interesting though. Like, have you guys had parents try to tell you how to parent?
They know fucking better.
Not too often.
No,
mean-
like
My mom is classic
Oh,
Midwest
sure.
mama bear mom, and she's actually a really great mom, and she's kind of the matriarch of our little tribe. So she'll every now and then mom us, or I should say, like, she'll mother us on how to mother or
Yeah,
father,
yeah.
but not too often. For the most part, she bites her tongue. Like, in fact, she's said to me numerous, I would say more times than she's mothered, she's said to us, I really wanted to say something.
yeah,
But she doesn't.
That's
Because she
funny.
knows,
passive aggressive.
you know, yeah.
that's
Well, yeah, it is
hilarious.
passive
she's
aggressive, but
Minnesotan, yeah.
Yep.
yeah, but
Yeah.
she'll say that after the fact.
Yeah.
She won't
Yeah,
say it
yeah.
in the midst of it.
Yeah.
And so it's not. It is passive aggressive, but at the same time, it's like after the fact, after it's all said and done.
Yeah.
But also it's just, you know, it is. I don't know if it's passive aggressive or if it's just like I can't help myself. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite my tongue, and so knowing how she is, because she's just like, what is it? Is she neurotic? What is it? Like, I don't know what it is, but she's just like.
I love her, but
But
I
she's
plead
just
the
like,
fifth.
she's just, I don't even know how to.
Neurotic isn't always a negative thing. Like
No,
there's
No,
she
lovable
worries a
neurosis.
lot about things that she doesn't need to worry about.
Ever. She worries about things that nobody ever needs to worry about in the history of ever.
Like, she doesn't want to go anywhere because of COVID, which I get, but she doesn't like to drive. Unless it's sunny out, she doesn't want to drive anywhere.
Well, these are some of the more reasonable ones, and I can't think of the more irrational ones, but she's anyway. So
Does she have like OCD or anything?
no, not really. Other than, I mean, you could call it OCD.
I think she has a little bit of OCD, and I think that's where he gets his from.
I mean, her house is. I grew up in a museum.
Oh,
Immaculate. But I don't think it's. But see, the thing is, though, is it's easy to say that it's OCD. It's really not. She grew up on a farm where she was the oldest, and dad is out in the field, and mom is dad's right hand gal.
Oh, sure.
Bringing out meals and stuff. And so she was sort of like this is a different generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she was sort of the second mom in the house. No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, it was instilled in her. Like, she's not OCD. It's just that every week you vacuum. Every week you dust.
Yeah.
Every week you do this. You know what I mean? And so it's not so much like, oh my God, there's a smudge on the doorknob. I need to turn it 3 times and then wash it and then turn it 3 times. You know what I mean? It's more just like we clean everything all the time. And like I said, I grew up in
time for that.
Yeah, no, not us. Our house is clean enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it immaculate? Could you eat off the floor? Probably not, but it's clean enough.
Yeah, sure you can.
That's the
On
name of
Tuesdays.
this episode is Clean Enough.
I like it.
That's
I
good.
like that.
Yeah. Sponsored by Clean.
Sponsored by Clean. Oh yeah.
We haven't talked
Use
about that in a
promo
while.
code TNSAA for 10 or is it 15%?
20%
20% off.
Ooh, what's clean?
Yeah. What's clean? What is
They
it?
are a company that was started by a addict in recovery who the worst part about getting sober is treatment centers are insanely expensive.
So expensive.
Yeah.
Like for 28 days, if
$37,000.
but that's on.
Jesus Christ.
That's not even on like the other end. Like there were people that paid $47,000 to get this treatment, and it might work.
Right.
5% of addicts only go to treatment one time and don't relapse. It's such an insanely low number.
Right.
So what they do is 50% of their profits go to scholarships to help people pay for that shit.
Wow, that's
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah.
And
So
what are those? Are they
Yerba
just
mates.
come again?
Yerba mates.
I like you said that.
Your
It's
mama?
basically
What?
like sparkling.
Your mama's.
It's like sparkling tea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snap, crack,
Oh,
and pop.
shit.
Yeah. And there's 160 milligrams of
crack
like
cocaine?
organic caffeine in it.
Oh no, okay.
So what
not
flavors
cocaine,
do we
not
got?
caffeine.
Oh man, a bunch. My favorite.
Watermelon mint.
Yeah, the
These are
watermelon.
all the ones that
mint's
are
a
not
good one.
diet.
Are they available in stores, or is it you have to
Now,
order it?
yeah,
there?
you can
Oh,
get them
yeah.
at Cub Foods now.
Okay.
We
But if
have
you
to
want-
go to Cub Food tomorrow.
I happen to be very close to somebody that loves tea, so
Oh,
Ah.
my
we're actually married.
they're good. They have these are the ones that have like the sugar in it. We get the sugar like diet ones. They do make
Okay.
diet ones too. That's
Yeah,
why
that's
these
what
ones
I'd
have
be
not been
interested in.
drank.
It Gots to be sugar free.
Well, snap.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something,
they're
that's
really
something we can
good.
get behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like I've got another friend who's going through the same thing. So,
Oh, okay.
It is. It's got to be incredibly hard. Like I've hardly seen him because everything we did was around drinking.
Yeah.
That
like,
was my fear of having Chris come home because like we went to movies all the time. Remember when there was no liquor in movie theaters? Now that's what we would do
Oh
is
my
we get a
gosh,
beer
yeah.
and go sit down and watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Bowling. I mean, granted, there's always been kind of beer at bowling,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
things that we
Yeah.
used to do, it's like we always revolved it around that. So thankfully, like not thankfully, but thankfully COVID was happening where it's like, okay, cool. You're going to come home and we're going to be sheltered anyway. And we're going to try and figure out how to do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
I mean, with COVID happening, like it just changed something in my brain where I was like, I can't even think about using right now because I'm way too fucking worried about what's going on with my family. Like,
Right.
So it helped distract me long enough to keep learning more things. And
I think my fear was though working where I work, people were relapsing like crazy. People were coming into the ER. People
So
were
you're
drinking way
you're seeing it every day. Yeah.
constantly,
Yeah.
worse than I had before. So that was my fear. Like,
Well, what's the percentage of having a relapse? It's pretty high, isn't it?
like I said, only 5%. Like,
Only 5% never do.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
so
crazy.
So 95% on some level.
Yeah.
Are you in the 5% right now?
Right now.
How many
Attaboy.
days?
Shit.
200
Actually, tomorrow will be 8 months.
tomorrow will be 8
Oh,
months.
whoop, whoop.
Fucking A, dude.
I know. Isn't that
Nice work.
insane?
It's like I told you in text. And I don't want to make this about myself. I'm just trying to make it more relatable.
No, yeah.
I actually much less significant a situation, but I kind of came to grips with the fact that I needed assistance with my noggin. I was just crabby every fucking day, and it was becoming more and more often. Like we could hardly get through a weekend without me snapping. Oh, wow. And so I went to see, essentially like a mental doctor, whatever the hell that's called. It's a mental health doctor.
Psychiatrist.
No, it wasn't.
Did you go to psychologist?
Maybe.
Or just a counselor.
He just went.
No, it was a doctor. I just don't. Whatever. Anyway, so I just mild depression probably is what it is, or manic, whatever. And so, it's not easy to admit when you are at fault, but you also get sick of. I was unreasonably.
Have you heard of dysthymia?
No.
So dysthymia is basically like a mind...
I've heard of ascrabia.
Ascrabia is a good one. But it's basically like microaggressions on your brain. Okay. Like you just have an underlying something just doesn't feel quite right. It's never enough to like completely throw your day off.
It sounds right.
But if it goes on for long enough, you get these little outbursts, or you just get flat out depressed for a day. Mm-hmm. But then and
then the next day you're fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the next day you're back into it again. And there'd be days where I just like she would say, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I just don't feel like smiling today."
Yeah.
And then it would be, and then there'd be another day where it'd be like, she's like, "Why are you? What is your deal?" And it'd be like, "Well, but it was this, and there would be like the kids would do like six, or there would be like something on the floor in the house, and then one of the kids would do something really small, and then they do something else really small,
and then I would do something small,
and then she would do something that annoyed me, and then eventually I'd snap. And in my head at first I was rationalizing like, well, yeah, you know what? I woke up in a fine mood. But then you're doing this thing that drives me nuts. And Elsie did this, and Evan did this, and then there's shit all over the floor, and like I'm fucking sick of it. But then I eventually finally got to a point where I was like, A, it was happening way too easily.
Yeah.
And B, is like none of these things are really that big of a deal.
And it wasn't fair for us to like walk on eggshells.
They were constantly on eggshells.
Yeah, and like Elsie, I don't know if I've ever really
you
said
told
it.
me,
yeah, like Elsie be like, "Why is Daddy mad? Like, is Daddy mad today?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, like our kids should not be asking."
That really is when it hit me.
And
when my 6-year-old at the time or 7-year-old, whatever she was at the time. Sorry to cut you off,
now.
but no, I know she's 7 now. Thank you. I just don't know when I came to this realization if she was 6 or 7, but I think she was probably 7 because it was fairly recent. But yeah, when she told me that, like, is Daddy, like basically she's assessing where I'm at that day, like that's.
Come in.
He fell and tripped and got hurt.
Oh, darn it.
But yeah, that's when it really hit me. Was just when my 7-year-old is basically
but
taking.
When you eventually get to that point too, in your head, you're like, I am not rationally like these things should not make me angry. But then you're still outwardly angry. But in your head, you're still like, why? And then you get angry because you're.
The other thing for me was just once I was in a funk or a mood, I didn't want to be convinced of it otherwise.
Yes.
You know what? I'm like, I don't, that was the worst part is that especially when I became self-aware and I realized that I was crabby as hell, but I didn't want to fix it because it's just like, you know what? Everything. Like I was so negative about everything. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I finally just was like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to live like this.
But it doesn't feel good. Like you physically start to feel awful.
I had no energy, just everything.
Tired
sucked,
all the time. Your stomach, like I feel like your stomach is a lot of it too. You still nauseous. You feel nauseous. Your stomach feels off.
Yeah. Well, and so that long rambling dissertation about me, what I want to finish it with saying is that this whole big story about me ultimately was to just say, to a certain degree, I understand what it's like to face up your demons. And so I wanted to give you props for that because that's not easy to do, man. And especially yours was way more significant than mine was. I mean, sure, my shit's my shit, but at the same time, like, yeah, but what, like all I had to do is go see a doctor and I pop a pill and I'm much better. You had to deal with some serious shit. So and it's not easy to do. So just allow yourself to take credit for it, man, because it's not easy to do.
He doesn't like to.
No, well, but I always say it's like the starving children in Africa. argument, which is like knowing that there are starving children in Africa doesn't mean that I'm licking every single plate clean that I have. Like everybody's threshold is different and everybody's adversities are different. So whatever your thing is, so I'm not like discrediting the work that I've put in, like, but because people say that a lot to me, like my thing was only this. And it's like, no, if it was enough to disrupt your day, then that's a trial to you. Like that's.
I'm just saying that mine was much easier to cope with and deal with and overcome. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like you had to put in some serious work. I haven't really had to. Like I've consciously tried to be better, but I think the medication has been huge. You know what I mean? And quite honestly, are not to draw attention to us this way, but you know, I also think that the change in our diet and our nutrition has been a huge help to me because that's like when you're not eating. It turns out if you're not eating garbage all day every day, your mood is hugely different. So I think a combination of Zoloft, props to Zoloft, and you know, and
such a broadband medication.
Can
help with depression, anxiety,
I
OCD.
took it for anxiety.
It's amazing, and I don't take a big dose. Like I'm on a small dose. So and you know that and vegetables are just like you know huge game changer. It's unreal.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, and I appreciate it, but you know, like I just think you know it's kind of like an analogy is it goes back to Elsie. When she was born, and she's got this major issue, and like we're on the 3rd floor at Children's, but we're looking around going, good Lord, things could certainly be, she could be, you know what I mean? But it didn't discount what she was going through, which is what you're trying to say. And I get that. But at the same time, it's, you know, just you should take credit because, you know, like don't get cocky, but take credit because, you know, it's not easy to do that. It's much easier to just stick in the cycle that you're in and say, no, I'm fine.
We're similar in the way that like when we learn a thing, it's like it doesn't just stop with us. If it can benefit other people, then we let them in on that stuff. I've always appreciated that about you. Like you were in the, I mean, you still are in the limelight, and like people know who you are.
16 people listen.
And I'm not one of them.
And my mom, no, she doesn't. She fucking listens to KDWB.
The fuck I do.
You do.
I know. I listen to my Apple Music.
That's what I do.
Oh, that's
too.
great.
Machine Gun Kelly right now.
Let's
that's
that
been
new
on
album.
yeah, let's.
I don't like that phone call with the other alien guy. That track
Pete
drives
Wentz?
me crazy. So I deleted that one off. I'm like, you're not in my library.
But
anymore.
anyways,
He has no idea.
like you didn't make me feel like I was wasting your time. Like when we first started talking.
Why would I?
Like, well, I
some
know
people
that's
do.
what's obvious, right? Like it feels obvious, but there are people with less clout that have been way shittier to me.
Wow.
And so
all
like,
I need to do is go to my job every day to be reminded of how little clout I really have. There are so many people in that building that are so much more ridiculously talented than I am, and you know, it's a talent business. You just have to know your place.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's sort of like if you're on a team. You know, like for me, I relate everything to hockey. There's first line center guy who scores 50 goals a year and gets paid $10 million a year, and then there's fourth line grinder guy who does all the dirty work, gets paid league minimum.
yeah.
But he's still an NHLer, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a pretty sweet gig, but I'm not Dave Ryan, I'm not Dan Barrero, I'm Paul Fletcher. So it's a very easy. You go to your job every day surrounded by really, really talented people. It reminds you to be humble.
And see that's what's awesome. Like I like the little stuff that I've done, but like when I was doing concert photography, like there were people constantly trying to like figure out how I was able to get backstage, to be able to do XYZ and talk to these people, and like I never looked at that as like they're a bad person for asking these questions or for doing these things. And so that's where like I relate to you. And the more that we got to know each other, there's a lot of like trying to figure out the world because we're able to exist in it and not hate everyone. Mm-hmm. Why can't everybody else be like that?
I know.
Why is it so easy for us to do this thing, but it seems like the world is on its fucking head?
Dude, go watch Social Dilemma. I'm telling you right now, it'll explain.
Especially
it'll
if
explain
you,
a
like,
lot.
with mental health, like, because my cousin killed himself a year ago. Like, he committed suicide.
Wow.
Oh.
And
Sucks really bad.
long story, I'll tell you privately. But anyway,
Okay.
just with that, like, we're basically grooming our kids to be so self-conscious and to value other people's opinions more than their own.
Oh, sure.
But also living in a bubble.
Living in a bubble.
That's
like,
what social
no
media
social
does.
skills. And it's just,
Well,
ooh.
and like and I talk like when I have younger like adults or adolescents that I see in the ER, and like we're stuck in this world, especially with COVID not going out as much, as we're stuck in you see things on social media.
Mm-hmm.
The shit me and Chris were going through, everything everyone would say, your relationship goals, you guys, like, no one saw the shit behind curtains.
Yep.
Like, we were arguing. Chris was all intoxicated all the time. I was constantly thinking about, how can I get out of my marriage? I'm not happy.
Wow.
So it's all these things. But on Facebook, it looked beautiful because we
Right.
weren't posting that stuff.
Right.
We were just posting like, oh,
Who wants to post the bad crap?
Right.
Most people
Exactly.
don't want to keep
Yeah.
it real.
Yeah.
no. So
Yeah.
it's just like, and then once everything kind of crumbled down, it's like, no, this is real life. Like, this is what really happens. And so, but I think even teenagers, they see like, oh, my friend got this. Like, even I remember being a teenager and you see all your friends with nice cars and you're like, I have a 94 Cavalier. I loved my car though. I'm just going to throw that out there. I did love my car.
78 Oldsmobile for me.
Ooh. But it's
Cutlass
like,
Supreme.
we've grown to compare ourselves to other people, and social media makes it 1,000 times
Yes.
worse.
Yep.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That is a long episode.
Super long episode.
So long, in fact, that I'm going to have to split it into 2 parts.
2 parts.
Tune in next week, folks, to hear the exciting conclusion of Tesla vehicles.
And butt stuff.
Do we talk about butts? Well, you'll
Maybe
find out
we do.
next week.